So here are daily COVID-19 stats from Johns Hopkins. Total confirmed cases worldwide, 950,000. We are going to hit 1 million tomorrow. Total deaths worldwide, only 48,000, up from 43 yesterday. So, Stu, this is the thing that I think gets everybody. They're like, why are we closing the entire economy when globally there are only 48,000 deaths? How could there be 100,000 deaths, in the next 2 weeks in America alone when globally it's only 48,000?
Well, I mean, I think the idea is that it's at the beginning of the increase, right? Like we set another new record yesterday for the most deaths globally of the entire crisis. And of course, this doesn't even include China. God only knows what the actual truth is there. There could be a lot more than 48,000 in total already. But just if you look at the numbers worldwide, they are increasing every day. And the idea is that eventually that stops. They think it's going to stop, in the United States somewhere around mid-April. Or at least start coming back down. Hopefully that's as long as it can go. Because I mean, you look at the economic numbers. I don't know how much longer we can do this and still have a civilization. I mean, it is obviously in collapse. You're risking quite a bit here, but that is the reason, right? It's 48,000 globally, but we did 5,000 in one day yesterday. So it was. I mean, you added on what 10% in a day. That continues. Those numbers get really big really fast.
So the U.S. has 250 cases now and 5,112 deaths. That is up 1,000 yesterday.
That's the biggest single day of death of any country in the entire time the coronavirus has been here, with again the exception of China. But it beats any day that Italy has had or Spain has had. Again, we're a bigger country than that, so that's not per capita true, but it is still incredibly tragic.
COVID-19 now the third leading cause of death in the U.S. behind heart disease and cancer. United States of America now leads the world in total confirmed cases, 115,000 more cases than Italy, although Italy leads the world in death with 13,000 dead there. The U.S. is 25th in total confirmed cases per 1 million population. So put it into perspective, we are leading the world because we are so huge. The U.S. is 23rd in confirmed deaths, 1 per million in population, 15 dead per million citizens. Italy has 218 dead per 1 million. We have 5,000 dead, almost 9,000 recovered, and 5,000 still today in critical condition. And the number is growing. COVID-19 now killing victims who don't have COVID-19. EMTs in New York have been given directions now not to transport heart attack victims to hospitals if they cannot be revived at the scene. Prior cardiac arrest victims would have been transported to the hospital for further life-saving procedures, but the hospitals are overwhelmed now with COVID-19 patients. So if you have a heart attack today in New York, you are solely in the hands of the EMT. If they can't replace the pulse or start your heart beating at the scene, they're not taking you to the hospital. They leave your body in the custody of the NYPD. China lied. People died. Now trending on social media. For China. China is, in fact, tomorrow we're going to expose something that was bothering us. And we're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And we couldn't figure it out. Well, we did some homework and research, and we figured it out. Okay, so the U.S. intelligence services now have concluded what the internet has known since January. The Chinese Communist Party lied about the total infected and total deaths during coronavirus. Citing a report provided to the White House last week, officials confirmed that U.S. intelligence concludes gross underreporting of total cases and total deaths. Many have speculated the numbers coming out of China, Iran, North Korea, Russia, and other totalitarian countries have been dramatically underreported by as much as a factor of 10, according to M5. Early misrepresentation of data by the Chinese have led some Western politicians and epidemiologists to underestimate the seriousness of COVID-19, as they did in Italy and Spain, the UK. I don't know why we believed the communists would tell us the truth this time, but we're still not hearing the truth. Let me give you a story here about Taiwan is delivering millions of masks. In fact, 2 million masks, hospital masks, to the United States. Why would Taiwan do that? Well, let me give you an example, and this goes into our investigation that will air tomorrow. This is an interview with an official from the WHO. Now, if you think that people aren't covering for China, listen to how this official reacts when asked a question about Taiwan. Taiwan, the Chinese say Taiwan doesn't exist, it's China. We all know Taiwan exists. Taiwan is a separate country. They want nothing to do with China. But China is just laying claim to Taiwan. Listen to how the WHO is handling this interview with this reporter.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership?
He just sits there, looks at the camera.
Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
Okay, then he looks down and he just disconnects from this Skype interview.
We decided to give Dr. Alward another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China.
We've already talked about China? No, we were talking about Taiwan. This is why Taiwan is sending us masks. You'll notice the accent of the WHO. WHO, when you see we expose them tomorrow on why you cannot trust the WHO. Their numbers on China are all skewed. They're all wrong. And we'll explain why tomorrow. This is what mainstream media should be doing. We should be looking into the numbers. We need to know we're changing the entire world on faulty numbers, and we're trusting the WHO. Well, when you see things like that, and you're like, wait a minute. They are just taking the hard Communist Party line. An American is playing the hard communist line. Why? Oh, we'll show you tomorrow. Make sure you're a member. Please join us at blazetv.com/Glenn. blazetv.com/Glenn. Promo code Glenn. Just a bit more of information in our COVID-19 update. We now know 50% of the viral spread comes from people with no symptoms. They're saying this is why this is so hard to predict where it's happening, because the people who have it have no symptoms. To prevent the further spread, top infectious disease experts in the U.S. say they are reconsidering their guidance on face masks. This is such a lie. If we had plenty of face masks, they would have told us to wear face masks the whole time. The face masks have always worked. They magically work in the hospital and they don't work on you. That's ridiculous. They didn't trust the American people to do the right thing and make sure that there were enough masks for the hospitals. You know, that's the mere fact. I trust the American people to figure it out. And you've already seen what the American people are doing. They'll have face masks and they're just turning them into their hospital because they're at home. But if we're going to turn this country back on, we need face masks, and we need people to make face masks. They're saying now to make your own at home. Well, there's no proof that any of that will work, but it's better than nothing. And if we're going to open the country up, we are going to all have to wear face masks. Then there's this one last story that I want to share with you. A locomotive engineer in Los Angeles has been charged with 1 count of train wrecking, Class A felony under federal law. He is the engineer of this, and he backed the train up. He was there at the port in Los Angeles, and he saw the USS Mercy coming in, the naval ship, the hospital ship, and he said, it's suspicious. That ship is not what they say it is. That's not there to help heal people. Now, he didn't say what it was doing. He just said, this is a plan. And he said, I only had the chance once. The whole world is watching, and I had to. People don't know what's going on here, but now they will. Well, I don't know what's going on here other than you tried to ram your train into the ship. And he got close. He saw, I think it was on CNN, they said, and he got close. No one on the ship was hurt. The train finally stopped 250 yards away from the ship. Okay, that's not close. I wasn't thinking anyone on the ship was hurt when he was 250 yards away.
I'm very concerned about why a train engineer would not understand he was going to come up short on this one. You probably should not be.
That's just, well, the good news is it only goes backward and forward. So
that's true.
He doesn't have a lot of options.